Hey guys, Chris Fix here.
Does your gear shift indicator not line up properly? Well, today I'm going to show you how to make it go from this to this. My gear shift indicator does not line up. That's drive, that's neutral, that's reverse, and that's park. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to adjust this so that it goes right over the letter, just like it's supposed to and just like you're used to. It's a really simple job, takes 10 minutes, and requires basic hand tools. You don't need any parts. And this is all you'll need to do this job. A couple of sockets, an extension will help, ratchet, some Torx bits, and then if yours ends up being broken, you're gonna need some glue or epoxy, needle nose pliers, and maybe some zip ties. You'll see later in the video, you could either use the zip ties or just the glue or both combined, so that'll be up to you. So we're gonna have to go underneath the steering wheel. What I would do is I would move the seat back so you have more space in there. With the seat pushed back, we're going to go underneath the steering wheel, and what we have to do is we have to remove this right here. This is really easy. There's a bolt here, there's two bolts here that hold this, and then there's a bolt right there. Here's the bolt that we're going to be getting out. You can see you could either use a 7mm or you could use a T20 Torx. There's one. The next two are going to be under your hood release. In here I'm going to go use a Torx. There's one. And there's two. We can just leave this here dangling and then take off this last bolt right here. And there's the last one. To get this off, all you have to do is there's a clip here and a clip here that's built into the panel. You just get a screwdriver, or you could just use your hand and pull it out just like that. Do the same thing on the other side, and this will come right out. You can see what the clip looks like. It's actually metal, which is good, so it won't break on you. Now you can see there's this big metal piece here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different bolts that you have to take out. These are 8mm. Now this could come out when that last bolt is off. So with that cover off, you can see here's this wire right here, and it runs down and to this gear thing here. Now you can see where my problem is. This is broken. So no matter how I switch this, it doesn't adjust it. Now yours might not be broken, then all you have to do is turn this knob until it's adjusted correctly. And all you'd have to do is make sure your car's in park, turn that adjuster knob until this swings over the P. Okay, I'm going to adjust it, and you can see that this is moving all the way over, and I'm going to want it right there. So now we know that's where we want it. Since mine is broken, I'm going to try to fix this, but if yours isn't broken, you just spin that wheel and then you're done. So we can fix this in one of two ways. First way is to use zip ties. You can see I have 2 zip ties which would fit perfectly on here, so it'll prevent this from sliding this way, which would mess up our adjustment. The zip ties would stay right here and they'd lean against this, and that would hold this in the correct position. That's the easiest method. You can get that done quickly and then you're done. The other method is to use some glue. You could take this off, use the glue, and glue this back into its position. This should be glued like this, so you could actually unbolt this. You can see that's a 6mm, and then this will come off, and then you could just unlatch this. It's just a little wire loop here, and take this all off and glue it, or epoxy it. Epoxy will be a little bit stronger, and that's what I'm going to do. This is a 5mm, and it's not in there very tight, so you could just use your hands to unscrew it. You don't have to use a ratchet. That comes right out like that. Be careful with this yellow wire. This is your airbag stuff. You don't want to mess around with that. Just get your hand back in here. Slip that off like that. This actually can't get pulled all the way in here. It stops right there, so you don't have to worry about it too much. So now just take all this off, and let's go glue it. So I'm going to be using epoxy just because it's going to bond stronger. We can leave our little black wheel out, and you can see this is where this broke off, right there, just like that. So it's supposed to hold that wheel in the middle there, just like that, but this piece is broken off. Just get some of this epoxy, put it where it's broken. So now that the pieces are together, I'm just going to hold it together for 2 minutes, and then I can let go and it'll just cure in place. So now in 20 minutes we could use this, but for now just let it dry. I put a bunch of epoxy in the corners where it broke, just to give it extra support. So as we let that dry for 20 minutes, I want to show you guys something that we could do for preventative maintenance. It'll cause you a huge headache if you don't check it out now. On these Fords and Mazdas and Mercurys, they have this problem with the bolt backing off. And to find this bolt, what you're going to do is you're going to see this shaft here. You're going to follow it back to right here. Here's the steering column. And then you look behind it here. And you can see already there's one bolt backing off. This is what connects to your shifter. So I'm going to wiggle the shifter. I'm not going to change the gear or anything because we have the gear selector taken off and it's not worth messing around with. But you can see when I move the gear shifter here, this moves. And what happens is this connects to this wire right here. That wire runs down to the transmission and it'll select the gear for you. So it's worth it to take that bolt out, put some thread locker on it, and then put it back in. The size of the Torx is a 30. So I have some removable thread locker here, and I'm just going to put it on the end, right there like so. You don't need a lot. Now I'm going to go and just hand tighten this in. I'll just tighten this all the way. You want it nice and snug. Good. And now that we just did a little preventive maintenance, let's go install that piece we just epoxied together. It's been 20 minutes, so now the epoxy's at usable strength. So let's screw this back in. So make sure you fit your little black wheel in between here. This only fits in one way. Just like so. Got our bolt here. Now we'll just tighten that up. This could just be hand tightened, so snug it. No need to go crazy. That's snugged up. Now we could slip our wire between these. So we'll move this up into the wheel and then spin the wheel. Once you get it threaded in there, adjust it to where you think is going to be about good. Doesn't have to be perfect, just want to make sure you have enough room so you have enough slack in this so that we could attach it to this hook right here. So with it adjusted, I'm getting the needle nose pliers in here and I'm just hooking it right onto this. Good. And now you can see the pressure is on that back piece which broke. So to mitigate some of that pressure, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 2 zip ties right here like I was talking about before. And that'll just prevent some of the pressure from going on that piece. So it'll just make it so that it'll last a lot longer, even though we epoxied it pretty good. So I'm just going to bring 1 zip tie up. And tighten that down just like that. I gave it a little bit more space so I could fit the other zip tie in there. Cut this. Get the other zip tie. Tighten that one down right next to this one. So we have our 2 zip ties in there. Cut this. And now we're going to bring our adjuster wheel back. So we can see the adjuster wheel is slightly leaning on the zip ties. Now we're going to go look and see where we want this adjusted. And that looks pretty good. And we could see that it takes stress off of that back piece, which breaks really easy. I did this on my other Ford and it's lasted over 5 years. So now we're done with this and we could put everything back together. We'll grab our piece of metal here, put it in place, get a screw at the top, hand tighten it in, get another one and we'll hand tighten that one in. And now we can let this go. We'll hand tighten the rest of the screws in and we'll snug them up. No need to go crazy on tightening them, just make them snug. I always do the bottom one first because it'll put everything else right in its place. Good, the metal's on there. So let's get our plastic cover. You want to align these tabs here with the holes right up here. And the same thing on this side. And once that's aligned, just press it in like that. And let's get the 4 bolts in that are under here. Now we're going to take our 4 screws that we have left. And tighten them. With everything hand tightened in, we'll get our Torx and tighten it up completely. Finish with the handle here. And now we're done. Okay, in the moment of truth. Perfect. Now it lines up, and now I could actually see which gear I'm going into. Hopefully this video was helpful. If it was, give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing. I publish how-to videos weekly, and I answer all the questions and comments you guys leave in the comment section below. On the screen are going to be a bunch of different videos. To get to those videos, you could click on the screen, or you can find the links to those videos in the description below. Also in the description below are going to be the links to my Chris Fix Facebook and Twitter pages. If you use Facebook or Twitter, check it out.